Good evening. I'd like to call the regular council meeting of November 25th, 2025 to order. And I would ask that the clerk conduct roll call, please.
Rivimo.
Present.
Councillor Legree.
Present.
Councillor McWhorter.
Present.
Councillor McDonald.
Present.
Councillor Sobalski.
Present.
Rivimo, we do have quorum.
Thank you. Just a brief announcement. You'll note that Mayor Sidney's name was not called. He has extended his leave until January the 5th. Councillor Andrew Dick has extended his leave until December the 4th. We wish them both well. As we gather, we would like to acknowledge on behalf of Council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history. And we're extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. And if you could please stand for O Canada. Good evening again, Council, and I'd like to check with you. Are there any declarations of interest? Seeing none, thank you. Public meetings, we do not have any public meetings. We don't have any delegations. We do have a presentation from Allison Faith York and Alex Jones and Peter Sizov, the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, the role of council. It's a presentation to us. So whoever is the lead, if you could start off, please.
Yeah. Hello. So my name is Alexander Jones. I'm here with my colleague Peter Sizov. Allison Faith York, our manager, is not going to be joining us tonight. So it'll be me and Peter. I will deliver the first half of the presentation, and then Peter will take over. So a slide deck was shared. Perfect. I can see it there. So, to begin, as we are gradually approaching the 2026 municipal election and consider various legislative changes currently under review, my colleague Peter Sizov and I are here today to provide council with a refresher on key topics related to municipal governance. This presentation is part of our ministry's routine business and reflects our ongoing commitment to supporting informed municipal decision-making. This slide deck has been prepared as a companion to the revised Ontario Municipal Councillors Guide. Neither document is intended to replace provincial legislation, but they are resources that can assist you in your role as an elected official. So now I'm on the disclaimer slide, which I see is already up. So these slides are meant to be a summary of some of the sections in the Ontario Municipal Councillors Guide and should not be relied upon for legal or official purposes. We want to stress that we are not lawyers and that you should always consult the legislation and regulations, and when necessary, municipal staff should seek advice from the municipality's lawyer. We will not be able to cover every aspect of your role and responsibilities as an elected official, but our hope is that this provides you with a better understanding and improves your comfort level. And we'll pass on to the next slide here. It just shows the outline. So we can skip right on ahead. Slide 4 shows the map of our Municipal Services Office. So this is our geography in the east. In our Kingston office, we have staff working in the areas of local governance, land use planning, and housing. Our Eastern Municipal Services Office is one of 5 Ministry Municipal Service offices. Offices are located in Sudbury, Thunder Bay, London, and Toronto. Thank you. So we in the Municipal Service offices are your primary point of contact with the ministry and your portal into other ministries as well. We try to help build municipal capacity through advice and training on elections, accountability and transparency, the Municipal Act, Municipal Conflict of Interest Act, Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, Council Staff Relations, Code of Conduct, Open Meetings, etc. On asset management practices, municipal shared services, community improvement plans, revenue and planning tools. I'm still on that last slide, it's 5. Planning tools, financial management practices, service delivery reviews, on land use planning to assist in fostering accountable local decision making and promoting the use of existing planning tools. We also provide advice regarding government initiatives, identify and disseminate best practices, partner with municipalities and others for common goals, help build effective relationships. Next slide, please. Slide 6 shows the ministry legislation. The Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing administers approximately 50 statutes. Today's presentation will focus on the Municipal Act 2001, which is the primary piece of legislation governing municipalities in Ontario. We'll skip on ahead here. Slide 7. Ontario Municipal Councillors Guide. As previously mentioned, the material provided during our training is based on the information contained in the Municipal Councillors Guide. The guide is intended to give a summary of complex matters. It does not include all details and does not take into account local facts and circumstances. For example, it includes references to specific sections in legislation, but other provisions of legislation are often relevant as well. The guide refers to or reflects laws and practices that are also subject to change, so that's something else to bear in mind. Let's get to the next slide. We'll have the title page for section 1 of the presentation. This will be my section, role of council, counselor, and staff. I'll go through this before passing it over to Peter. So first slide on this, please, slide 9. Council and staff roles. The key to any organization, government, business, industry, or local service club is for everyone to understand their respective roles and relationships. In the next few slides, we are going to review more specifically the role of the head of council, the head of council's role as the chief executive officer, the role of council, the role of the CAO, clerk, treasurer, and discretionary staff positions, which are all key to an effective and efficient local government. Next slide, please. In Ontario, a council is required to have a minimum of 5 members, one of whom is the head of council. The role of council is outlined in the Act, Section 224. It is the role of council to represent the public and to consider the well-being and interests of the municipality, develop and evaluate the policies and programs of the municipality, determine which services the municipality provides, ensure that administrative and controllership policies, practices, and procedures are in place to implement the decisions of council, ensure the accountability and transparency of the operations of the municipality, including the activities of the senior management of the municipality, maintain the financial integrity of the municipality, and carry out the duties of council under the Municipal Act or any other act. Next slide, please. Depending on the municipality, the head of council may have different titles. It's up to each council to decide its composition. For example, the head of council could be mayor or reeve, and in an upper-tier municipality, the head of that council might be a regional chair or county warden. The role of head of council is outlined in the Act, Section 225, and for Strong Mayor Municipalities, Part 6.1. It is the role of the head of council to provide leadership to council, preside over council meetings so that its business can be carried out efficiently and effectively, provide information and recommendations to the council with respect to the role of council, represent the municipality at official functions, and carry out the duties of the head of council under the Municipal Act or any other act. An additional role for heads of council of Strong Mayor Municipalities is to propose the municipal budget, It is also the role of head of council to act as chief executive officer of the municipality, which is not the same as the chief executive officer of a corporation and is separate from the role of chief administrative officer. As chief executive officer, the head of council has certain responsibilities as outlined in the Act. Section 226.1, upholding and promoting the purposes of the municipality, promoting public involvement in the municipality's activities, acting as the representative of the municipality both within and outside the municipality, and promote the municipality locally, nationally, and internationally, and participating in and fostering activities that enhance the economic, social, and environmental well-being of the municipality and its residents. So that's what's meant by the reference to Chief Executive Officer role for the head of council. With all these responsibilities, the head of council has a high public profile and a leading role. Part of the role is balancing citizen expectations. The head of council is also required to sign all council-approved bylaws and contracts. Next slide, please. Councilors have several roles that may overlap. For example, you have a representative, policymaking, and stewardship role to play in your municipality. The issues may be complex and controversial, and many decisions you make will have long-term consequences that may extend beyond your 4-year term. Any decisions should be made in the context of your municipality's plans for the long-term health and welfare of your community. Next slide, please. In your role as a representative, you were elected by your constituents to represent their views when dealing with issues that come before council. However, your constituents may have many views and opinions, and you cannot represent all of them all the time. You'll have to consider a variety of opposing interests and make decisions that will not be popular with everyone when dealing with different issues. You should use your judgment and decide based on the best interests of the municipality as a whole. In practice, there is no single correct approach to the representative role, and on many issues you will find that you fall somewhere between two opposing viewpoints. Be sure to familiarize yourself with any policies or protocols that your municipality may have in place regarding the handling of complaints and citizen inquiries. Although you may want to find some way of helping, remember to consult municipal staff. Working as a team with the rest of council and staff will contribute to making your time on council a success. If your municipality does not have a policy for handling citizen inquiries, complaints, and frequently asked questions, you are encouraged to work with council and staff to develop such a policy. You may wish to refer to the Ontario Ombudsman's tip sheet or your neighboring municipalities for best practices when developing a local process. Furthermore, there may be circumstances where decisions are made by designated staff that operate at arm's length from the municipality, and where it could be inappropriate for elected officials to interfere or be seen to be interfering. Examples of this would include decisions made by the fire chief, the chief building official, or the medical officer of health. A councillor who has made promises that cannot be kept may lose credibility with the citizens and strain the working relationship with staff. Next slide, please. Slide 14 here. Some council decisions are routine, others establish general principles to help guide future actions. Those are often considered policy decisions. Some policies can be specific, such as a bylaw requiring dogs to be kept on leashes in public areas, and others can be broader and more general, such as approval of an official plan. How is policy made? This slide details 8 key steps in the development of policies. So identify the issue, agree on the facts, and ensure objectives are met, direct staff to research issue, identify, recommend options to council, engage members of the public and consider their feedback, work with staff to evaluate policy and amend as required, direct staff to implement the policy, make a decision based on the best course of action available and adopt the policy, and I went backwards there. Anyway, you have this slide in front of you and you probably know it better than I do. So in many cases, council refers a policy issue to a committee of council to take advantage of the committee's expertise in a particular area or to reduce council's workload. In practice, policy making is sometimes less orderly than described because of various factors: a rapidly changing environment, the complexity of issues facing local government, and the difficulty in singling out problems that require more immediate attention. Differing and sometimes strongly held views by stakeholders and members of the public. the lack of time to identify all possible alternatives and to conduct detailed research and analysis, the legal and financial limits on what council may do, and the complexity of implementing policies and developing mechanisms to monitor and evaluate them. Council is the primary policy-making body of the municipality. The administration is responsible for carrying out council's policy decisions. The two roles are distinct, but there can be much overlap. Although staff is responsible for implementing a policy, council may wish to develop appropriate reporting mechanisms to help ensure that the policies are being carried out as intended and as effectively as possible, and so that council can follow implementation progress. Next slide, please. On to the stewardship role. Council's objectives are to ensure that the municipality's financial and administrative resources are being used as efficiently as possible. There is a fine line between council's overall stewardship of the municipality and the administration's management of day-to-day activities. Generally, council monitors the implementation of its approved policies and programs, but the practical aspects of its implementation and administration are a staff responsibility. To be effective in this stewardship role, council may wish to have processes in place to ensure that policies adopted by council are being implemented, staff are administering services and programs as council intended, rules and regulations are being applied correctly and consistently, funds are being spent only as authorized, and the municipality's resources, financial and otherwise, are being used appropriately and as efficiently as possible. Establishing and following such policies and guidelines helps council leave the day-to-day details for staff to manage. Council is freer to deal with exceptional situations, ensure that policies are current, and listen to issues raised by the public to represent the broader community interests. Next slide, please. Continuing on the stewardship role. Once you are familiar with the policies currently in place, council can monitor and measure the municipality's administrative effectiveness and efficiency. With input from municipal staff, council can determine whether the policies are functioning well or if changes are necessary. As part of this process, council may wish to define corporate objectives and set goals and priorities, establish clear administrative practices, provide specific guidelines and directions to staff on the applications of those policies, delegate appropriate responsibilities to staff to the extent permitted under municipal legislation, establish a personnel management policy that emphasizes the recruitment, hiring, evaluation, training, and development of staff, ensure that policies with respect to most operations of the municipality are in place, with special note to mandatory policies required by the Act. Develop protocols for the flow of information between council and staff. Consider establishing a protocol for sharing approaches with other local governments and Indigenous communities that share a common interest in community health, culture, and economy. Relationship building early with Indigenous communities is the key to effective partnerships down the road. Next slide, please. On to the CAO. A municipality may appoint a chief administrative officer, and the Act, Section 229, sets out the role. So, firstly, exercising general control and management of the affairs of the municipality for the purpose of ensuring the efficient and effective operation of the municipality, and performing such other duties as are assigned by the municipality. The function of the CAO within the municipality is generally akin to the role of a chief executive officer within a business framework. The CAO is responsible for the general management of the day-to-day operations of the municipality, which may include developing and implementing appropriate internal administrative policies, practices, and procedures to ensure the efficient and effective and accountable operation of the municipality. Following on, next slide, 18. So just as Section 224 of the Act outlines the role of council, Section 227 sets out the role of staff. Generally, it is the role of the officers and employees to implement council's decisions and establish administrative practices and procedures to carry out council's decisions, undertake research and provide advice to council on the policies and programs of the municipality, carry out other duties as required under the Municipal Act or any act, and other duties assigned by the municipality. Some officers of the municipality, such as the clerk and the treasurer, chief building official, fire chief, have statutory obligations. To help staff in meeting council's expectations, council should be providing clear policy decisions, directions, and expectations, adopt policies that complement and reinforce staff efforts to improve administrative operations, consult with staff before deciding on policies and programs, and be prepared for council meetings. As a counselor, you can help staff by treating staff respectfully and considerately, directing inquiries through the appropriate processes established by the municipality, providing clear direction to staff. Staff, in turn, could provide well-organized agendas with supporting materials, provide advice on policy, including options and recommended actions, identifying the costs and benefits for the community in human and financial terms, and implement council decisions as effectively and professionally as possible. Next slide, please. Both council and staff have different roles within the municipality, but their roles have common goals and purposes. Council generally represents the community and sets the policy direction for the municipality. Staff provides the research and expert advice to help council in their decision-making process. Once council makes the decision, staff has general responsibility to implement the policy of council, for example, through administering and delivering services and programs to the community under the general direction of the CAO. The CAO, staff, and council rely on one another to move the municipality forward. Both council and the CAO provide leadership. Council provides political leadership on behalf of the residents. They are the voice of the people to reflect public opinion and to give voice to public concerns. The CAO, on the other hand, provides leadership to the organization. The relationship between the CAO, staff, and council is interconnected, and it is important for council members and staff to respect one another's roles so that they can serve the public in an effective and efficient manner. Municipalities must have a policy on the relationship between members of council and municipal staff. Next slide, please. Strategic planning. A strategic plan can be considered an essential part of municipal governance. Strategic planning is a process an organization uses to define a direction and make decisions about allocating resources, both financial and staff resources. It helps council to develop strategies, goals, objectives, and action plans to achieve the future it desires. It is forward-thinking and proactive, and it can be a guide to decision-making, project planning, and budgeting. I'm repeating myself a little here. Becoming familiar with the municipality's strategic plan is an effective way of understanding both the organization and the broader environment in which you will be working, are already working. Your municipality's administrative, financial, and planning decisions should reflect and support the strategic plan. Decisions, both popular and unpopular, are more easily made when seen in the context of your municipality's broader long-term strategy. The plan is a framework that encourages consistency in municipal decision-making among both councilors and staff. When developed with public input, the plan represents a shared view of the municipality's future and encourages public commitment to achieving it. A municipality may wish to measure its success over time and review the plan periodically to ensure that it still aligns with current issues, challenges, and realities. So that ends section 1, which I was delivering, and I'll pass over now to Peter to talk about accountability and transparency.
Thank you so much, Alex. So starting from section 2, like Alex mentioned, I'll be talking a little bit about accountability and transparency. And as council is aware, ensuring accountability and transparency is one of council's roles under the Municipal Act, and it's a priority in maintaining public trust. So accountability can be thought of in terms of using public resources responsibly, while transparency is proving it by providing open information to the public. So, for example, streets need to be plowed in the winter. Being accountable means making sure there are enough operators and equipment to get the job done in a reasonable time and at a reasonable cost. But being transparent, on the other hand, means showing the cost of plowing snow to the public for their awareness. So Section 2 focuses on the legislative accountability and transparency framework that consists of a mix of requirements and options that municipalities and members of council and local boards must follow. Next slide, please. So documenting municipal policies is an important action of an open and transparent council. Many municipalities have developed policy manuals to provide a basis for sound decision-making and to help ensure that policies are implemented and applied in a consistent way. The Municipal Act requires municipalities to have policies on a number of matters as outlined on the slide. When creating a policy, it can be helpful to look at what other municipalities have done and what is included in their policies to gather information on best practices. And this is something that our regional ministry office also specializes in, is connecting municipalities to one another so they can exchange best practice suggestions, sample policies, because oftentimes the ministry, we can't provide very specific advice regarding the application of legislation, but we can connect municipalities so they can exchange ideas. So just a little plug for our office's services on that front. Next slide, please. Codes of conduct usually set out expectations and standards for councillor conduct. Codes may help prevent ethical conflicts and help in their resolution, serve as a basis for council orientation and training, and serve as a reference throughout the operation of the council's term. Municipalities are required to establish codes of conduct for members of council and certain local boards, and are required to include certain subject matter in their local codes. And examples include gifts, benefits, and hospitality, respectful conduct, including towards officers and employees of the municipality or of local boards, confidential information, and the use of municipal or local board property and equipment. So that's what's covered typically in these codes of conduct. But it's up to municipalities to decide how to develop their codes. This slide provides some matters that a municipality may consider when developing and reviewing their codes of conduct, but again, it's a local decision. For a complete list of considerations, you are encouraged to review the Ontario Municipal Councillors Guide, which provides a lot of excellent foundational information about municipal governance and administration and finance, and also more recently has been updated to address strong mayor powers, which is of interest to many municipalities, as you know. So in the case of shared boards, there is a need for agreement as to which code of conduct applies to the local board to avoid confusion in the case of wording variances between different municipal codes of conduct for members from different municipalities. So that's an interesting angle that municipalities should be aware of too when it comes to shared boards. Next slide, please. So as council is aware, because this has been around for a while now, since 2019, municipalities must provide public access to an integrity commissioner, or IC for short. And the IC independently applies local codes of conduct and ethics rules for council and certain boards. The IC also applies Municipal Conflict of Interest Act provisions, provides advice to members on codes, ethics rules, and the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act, or MCIA for short. The IC is also responsible for educating councils, boards, and the public on local codes of conduct and, of course, the MCIA. And the IC also investigates complaints about potential breaches of codes. So municipalities have some options. For example, they can appoint their own IC for all or some duties, but they can also share an IC with other municipalities or contract another municipality's IC. They can also assign extra responsibilities beyond the mandatory ones, and that's really something that has to be determined locally. So, and considerations when municipalities are appointing an integrity commissioner are things like potential workload, the municipality's budget for an IC, integrity commissioner, their independence, things related to dispute resolution, the qualifications of a potential appointee. So a lot of these things need to be worked out in an agreement by the municipality so that it satisfies the municipality's needs. But as council is aware, if the Integrity Commissioner, or IC, finds a breach of a municipal code of conduct, council may impose a reprimand or suspend pay for a member for up to 90 days. But again, the final decisions rest with council. Next slide, please. So, to help support integrity and accountability in public office, municipalities may pass bylaws to appoint certain accountability officers. And those, as you can see on the slide, include the municipal ombudsman, auditor general, a lobbyist registrar, and closed meeting investigator. So many of these officers usually, I would say, exist in larger municipalities. So definitely in your municipality, you have either a closed meeting investigator or the Ontario Ombudsman fills that role by default. But some larger municipalities also have a municipal ombudsman, not to be confused with the Ontario Ombudsman. And the municipal ombudsman investigates in an independent manner decisions and recommendations made and actions done or omitted in the course of the administration of a municipality, local boards, or certain municipal corporations. The municipal ombudsman is separate, as I mentioned earlier, from the Ontario Ombudsman, who also has a role with respect to municipalities. Another office is the Auditor General, who may assist council in holding itself and municipal administrators accountable for the quality of stewardship over public funds and achieving value for money in municipal operations. And the Auditor General must also perform their duties in an independent manner. Their responsibilities do not include the responsibilities of the municipal auditor. So this is an extra office, an extra role. And then you have the lobbyist registrar, who performs, again, in an independent manner, the functions assigned by the municipality with respect to the lobbyist registry, such as establishing a code of conduct for lobbyists and prohibiting former public office holders from lobbying for a specified time period. But most typically in smaller municipalities, the main office that you may be most familiar with is that of a closed meeting investigator, who investigates, in an independent manner, complaints about closed meetings. So should a municipality not appoint one, then, as you know, the Ontario Ombudsman is the closed meeting investigator by default in that municipality. Next slide, please. And this brings us to the topic of the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act, which sets out the ethical rules for council and local board members. So, for instance, a member may have to take steps if they are present at a council or board meeting where their property will be discussed. These rules apply with some exceptions to council if they have a pecuniary interest or financial interest in a matter that is before a council or local board at a meeting. So, as council is aware, if somebody on council has the potential pecuniary interest, there are certain procedures for them to follow. Next slide, please. So this Municipal Conflict of Interest Act, or MCIA for short, requires a member of council or local board with this kind of interest to do the following things, just to be a bit more specific. So they must disclose the interest and its general nature before the matter is considered at the meeting, not take part in the discussion or voting on any question in respect of the matter, not attempt to influence the voting before, during, or after the meeting, and immediately leave the meeting if the meeting is closed to public. The Integrity Commissioner can provide council members with advice about conflict of interest matters, so that's something to consider as well. The member is responsible for determining whether they have a pecuniary interest, however, so it's very important to be aware of this legislation. A few more words about the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. So this legislation generally prohibits a member of council or local board from using their office to attempt to influence decisions or recommendations being considered by municipal or local board employees, or by persons with authority delegated from council, for that matter, if the member has, again, a financial interest in the matter, if the member has that pecuniary interest. So, for example, a member with a pecuniary interest in a matter could not, in most instances, try to influence a decision or recommendation of a municipal employee who's considering the matter. There are other rules concerning members' statements and disclosures under this legislation and a registry for them. A member who discloses a pecuniary interest at a meeting are required to file a written statement of their interest, either at the meeting or as soon as possible afterwards. This is in addition to the existing requirement for the clerk or secretary to record members' declarations of interest in the meeting minutes. Municipalities and local boards are required to establish and maintain a registry of statements and declarations of interests of members and make it available for public inspection. The registry helps increase transparency by providing a compilation of written statements and declarations in one place. There are a broad range of penalties for potential contraventions of the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act, which gives the courts flexibility in how they can respond to contraventions. So penalties for possible contraventions, for example, include reprimand, suspension of pay for a period of up to 90 days, restitution, and even removal from office. But at the end of the day, the courts decide whether or not a contravention of the Act has taken place. Next slide, please. The Municipal Conflict of Interest Act provides integrity commissioners with the responsibility to investigate a complaint from an elector or a person demonstrably acting in public interest concerning an alleged contravention of the Municipal Conflict of Interest rules that apply to members. So just to clarify my statement, just to backtrack a little bit, it's actually the Municipal Act that provides integrity commissioners with that responsibility. So that's what you can see on the slide under the first bullet. Now, after completing an investigation, an integrity commissioner could decide to apply to a judge for a determination as to whether the member has indeed contravened the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. And if an integrity commissioner decides not to apply to a judge, the person who made the complaint could still go ahead and do so if certain conditions are met. So if the integrity commissioner doesn't act, a member of the public can still go ahead and make that submission to the courts. Next slide, please. So other statutes may require municipalities to adopt specific or general codes of conduct. For instance, the Building Code Act requires municipalities to establish and enforce a code of conduct specifically for chief building officials and inspectors. And this legislation states that the purpose of the code of conduct is in promoting appropriate standards of behavior and enforcement of actions, preventing practices which may constitute an abuse of power, and promoting appropriate standards of honesty and integrity. Codes of conduct must include policies or guidelines to be used in responding to allegations of a breach and must set out disciplinary actions that may be taken. Municipalities must ensure that the public is aware of the code of conduct. And again, just to differentiate, this is a code of conduct specifically for CBOs and building inspectors, not council. Next slide, please. Now on to the topic of the Ontario Ombudsman. So the Ontario Ombudsman promotes fairness, accountability, and transparency in the public sector and may recommend improvements. And since 2016, some time has gone by, the Ontario Ombudsman may investigate municipalities on complaints or on the Ombudsman's own initiative. Although the Ontario Ombudsman may investigate, they cannot compel municipalities to take action. So the Ombudsman may make recommendations to Council and the municipality as part of their report, but it's up to the municipality whether and how to address any recommendations made by the Ontario Ombudsman. It's up to the Ontario Ombudsman how to respond to complaints, and, for example, the Ombudsman's practice is to investigate complaints made to local integrity officers, for instance, a local ombudsman, only after the local complaint processes are completed. So typically the Ontario Ombudsman is sort of a recourse after all of the local avenues have been exhausted by for instance, a concerned member of the public after they've gone through the proper local channel of speaking to council, speaking to staff. Eventually, they can also reach out to the ombudsman if they have a complaint. I mean, they can do it at any time, but typically that's the one of the last orders of escalation is after the local processes have been exhausted. Next slide, please. Now, a few words on privacy and confidentiality. Personal privacy and other confidentiality issues are an important practical and legal consideration for municipal councillors and staff. And now I can say a few quick words about another piece of legislation in this case, which is the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. I'll call it MFIPA for short. And this is the primary statute for privacy and confidentiality matters. MFIPA sets out rules for collection, use, and disclosure of personal information. According to these rules, councillors and staff, in most circumstances, would protect personal privacy and only collect, use, and disclose personal information in accordance with those rules. For example, depending on circumstances, councillors and staff may or may not be authorized to obtain personal information in the course of their duties. And this might mean at times councillors could not obtain this kind of information from staff. The Municipal Freedom of Information legislation also regulates confidential information of other kinds, in addition to personal information. Other statutes and laws, including local bylaws, also regulate personal and other kinds of confidential information. Councillors who may have received personal or other confidential information in the course of their duties will have related responsibilities, such as protecting and safeguarding the information. Councillors may wish to check with municipal staff about appropriate measures and the municipality's practices. So, for instance, providing for physical security to help prevent unauthorized disclosure or loss of confidential information. So it's very important for council to communicate with staff about these types of questions. Speaking of questions, if we move on to the next slide. At this stage, Alex and I would like to thank Council for their attention. This is the conclusion of our presentation. On the next slide, you'll see our contact information. Alex is the municipal advisor for your municipality. So if you have any, if the municipality has any governance, administrative, or financial questions, it's encouraged to reach out to Alex. I also work alongside Alex, so here's our contact information. We're very excited to hear from you. And at this stage, I think we can open the floor to questions, but we will ask Council to be patient with us because we actually would like to take any questions you may have today down in writing so that we can go back and work with our policy colleagues to come up with written responses to your questions and then share those with Council through staff. So on that point, I'd like to open the floor to the questions if there are any. Thank you.
Councillor McDonald, please.
Thank you. Reeve, through you. And I want to thank staff because over the last 3 years since we've been here, they've been very good in giving us relevant information like this as we've moved along. Gentlemen, I still have a question directed towards you. With regard to the provincial government's decision to implement strong mayor powers, and you'll probably hear a lot about it, it's created a lot of frustrations between mayors, staff, and council. We, as a town, have sent correspondence to the government, as well as others that I'm aware of, not in favor of it. Further, it appears to have been implemented with numerous grey areas. My personal opinion is that it goes against important concepts of democracy, and as you guys were talking, you were talking about working as a team, public trust, voice of the people, and a lot of talk about accountability and transparency, which I agree with. Is the provincial government prepared to cancel this current strong mayor legislation, or are they going to continue to move ahead of it? If they are, what are they going to do to address numerous gray areas that are currently in it? So I'll leave it up to you to respond. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Through you, Your Worship, we will definitely take that question down and get back to you in writing with a response. Thank you for that.
Yes, gentlemen, just one question. Well, I actually have two, but this one specifically. Time and time again, we are invited into sessions. For instance, if someone is facing a tax sale and they're giving up some personal information, and verbally, I warn them that I don't need to be, nor should I be in the room to hear that, but they'd like me to be there. Is there anything I can do to protect the municipality and myself in the long term if something happens? Is there a form, like a sign-off form, a waiver or something, or are we just, as long as we make note of it in our notes, that we've advised them that it's not an area we normally tread into?
And so, Your Worship, so that just to clarify the question, it's about, are you concerned about the disclosure of personal information in that case, or you're trying to minimize risk around that?
Yes, sometimes people invite, they'll approach the office through us about, and I just use tax sale, but there's also often, and sometimes staff members as well, and invite you into the room with a municipal official, whether it's the treasurer, the CAO, or their manager, and there's personal information given out. And verbally, you warn them that that's not something you normally sit in on, or you have some discomfort hearing the information. And I'm just wondering if there's a means of waiving that, or at least acknowledging that they've been given the warning.
Thank you for that clarification. We will go back and get some feedback from our policy colleagues on that and provide you with a response. Generally, just as a quick disclaimer, our response may be of a general nature because in many instances we defer to municipal lawyers for specific interpretations and advice for the application of legislation, but we will do our best to provide a clear response to that question.
Thank you. And Councillor McDonald, please.
Thank you, Reeve, through you. Gentlemen, just with regard to touching up on the strong mayor powers again, are you able to send any current relevant information regarding the strong mayor powers and forward it to our CAO for dissemination? Obviously, it's a working project with potential updates regularly. If you can give us what's relevant and current, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Through Your Worship, we actually have a presentation on the Strong Mayor Framework, which ministry staff, actually Alex and I, are able to deliver to Council, much like we deliver training on governance issues today. And this PowerPoint summarizes the key aspects of the Strong Mayor Framework and even provides, as an appendix, frequently asked questions and answers, which may be of interest to Council if Council wishes us to come back and deliver that training at a future date. Also, the Ontario Municipal Councillors Guide. Chapter 10 of that resource, it's a free online guide. In fact, our deck on the last slide includes a link to that guide, I believe. Includes a whole chapter devoted to Strong Mayor Power, the Strong Mayor Framework, and it provides a very kind of summarized explanation of those powers, which may be very beneficial to members of the public, but also to Council. Full disclosure, Alex and I, as ministry staff, we refer to Section 10 of the guide all the time for information too, because of how useful it is, how summarized it is. So those are key resources. In terms of other tools, of course, there's the legislation, but it is much more detailed. The regulation associated with strong mayor powers, the regulations rather, also very detailed. So there are a number of tools. I mean, we can certainly discuss those with the township and also with the town rather, and also through staff, if that's of interest. Does that help clarify it a little bit?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you.
And are there any further questions from Council? Seeing none, thank you very. Oh, I'm sorry, Councillor McWhirter.
If it might through you, Reeve. Now that with strong mayor powers coming in May, and we're now at the end of this year, has any new policies been set based on legal challenges to it or anything like that? I'll give you an example. Like before strong mayor powers took effect here, we were in the middle of financing for a very large development that went off the rails prior to us. So we were looking for cost savings, so we put a hiring freeze on, and as soon as the mayor got in, he hired 3 people, and since then he's hired more. We're told it's not in our control anymore. We don't have a say in hiring or firing or any of that with staff. I'm just wondering, has there been any new policies set concerning that? Because when you're looking for cost savings and you're looking to save money on operating, and you have a mayor that decides to hire people, it kind of goes against the grain on what we're trying to do when we're trying to come up with a budget. Have you run into anything, or has there any policies been changed due to that, or?
Thank you for that question, through your worship. So we'll definitely go back to our policy colleagues to see if there's anything new. Just commenting today, we're not aware of anything because the strong mayor framework is new. It hasn't been tested in the courts extensively yet. That's why at the current time, we're personally not aware of any examples to share with you right now. But that being said, we will get back to you after checking with our policy colleagues to see if there's anything new that we can disseminate to the municipality in terms of examples.
Thank you.
I would also add for that one, through you, Your Worship, that the interpretation of which positions specifically the strong mayor has the ability to hire would be something we would likely refer you to a lawyer or the municipal lawyer for advice on, because there are nuances I just want to flag with regard to the strong mayor powers. Specific positions may be, more relevant than others, let's just say.
Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Reeve, through you. To touch up on that part, is there a concerted effort right now for the government to fine-tune the strong mayor powers? Because I'm anticipating you're getting lots of feedback with frustrations. Is there any movement in that direction?
Thank you for that question, through your worship. We certainly can't speak on behalf of the minister, but we, of course, can take your question back and provide a response later in writing.
Okay, thank you very much. Very informative, and I believe that we likely will take you up on your offer at some point in the future to provide us with some of the slideshow and training. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And just, they mentioned nuances, and I think there's a bit of a nuance here that we need to explain a little bit. And Councillor McDonald, I think you had the email where you questioned the CAO about full-time equivalents. And so while it appears the mayor has hired people, he certainly has, but at the same time, we're about a half a full-time equivalent less than we were at this time last year. So I didn't want to leave the interpretation in the community that there'd been a massive hiring of people and we had more people roaming around than we've had previously. So just, I think I don't remember the exact numbers. I believe it was 75.5 versus 75.8 or something like that, but it's just an email that came out to all of us Monday or Friday, something like that. So thank you. I'll move to C4, and a reminder to join the town of Renfrew and the downtown business improvement area this Saturday for Light Up the Square as we light the tree in Low Square and officially kick off the holiday season. The celebration runs from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. At the same time, downtown will come alive with the heart of Renfrew Market, where you can shop for unique gifts, enjoy live music, and even visit with Mrs. Claus. I'd also remind that the Town of Renfrew Santa Claus Parade is next weekend on December the 6th at 5:30 p.m. We encourage everyone attending to bring a donation for the food bank to help support families in our community this holiday season. Don't forget to pop by the Legion after the parade for pictures with Santa, goodie bags, and crafts. As you may have seen on social media, we are looking for unwanted working outdoor holiday lights for use at the Santa Claus Parade and other holiday events. If you are switching up your holiday decor, please consider donating your used holiday lights and save them from the landfill. Lights can be dropped off at the MyFM Center or with the attendant at the landfill, and we will be accepting them well into the new year. December 5th is the National Day of Remembrance and Action on Violence Against Women. A candlelight vigil will be held at Low Square at 5 p.m. Please join us as we honor those affected, as we reflect on the impacts of violence, and as we recommit to building a future where gender-based violence and intimate partner violence is a thing of the past. I'd also like to encourage you, there are numerous organizations who are organizing toy drives and angel trees and other such opportunities for us to assist families and children to enjoy the holiday season and Christmas. Thank you. Are there any other announcements? Seeing none. D, Committee of Adjustment and Property Standards Committee. Seeing none. Committee of the Whole, that Renfrew Town Council convene as Committee of the Whole to consider reports for recommendation to Council at 5:28. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Cebulski. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you. That Committee of the Whole received the monthly tenant facility and maintenance report for November 2025 as information. Mover, please. Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor McWhirter, and Coordinator Collins, please.
Thank you, and through you, Reeve. So we'll start with one innovation. The roof replacement above Raytheon has been successfully completed. This project came in under budget and was done well before the estimated completion date. And there's also been some various plumbing issues that have been rectified, including leaking urinals and sinks throughout the building. At the MyFM Center, another big project crossed off the list. The acoustic panels are now complete in the medicine wheel. Group Pichet worked over the weekend of November 8th and 9th to complete the project, and they look fantastic. The library is getting a retrofit of all interior lights to be converted to LEDs. This will commence as soon as the lights are in. Town Garage, the roof replacement for the Town Garage has been awarded to We Got It Covered Roofing, and work should be starting soon. All material has been ordered, and we're just waiting on delivery before they can start. And finally, we've installed security cameras inside the rec center as well as outside at the old wastewater treatment plant, and they're being monitored daily.
Thank you. Are there any questions, comments, concerns from members of council? Councillor McWhirter, please.
That's inside the old rec center?
Yes, that's correct.
Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Reeve. Through you. With regard to the acoustic panels in the medicine wheel, is that the last thing that needed to be done? Is the medicine wheel functional now? Is it up and running?
Through you, Reeve, they are now just waiting. I had a member from Gilmore Designs reach out to me just yesterday. We're just waiting on the decals to be installed, and then it will be complete. So they have those. They're coming to do a walkthrough next week to make sure that nothing's changed, and then those will be installed hopefully shortly after.
Thank you. And you mentioned something coming in under budget, the roof. Can you give us a sense of how much under budget that was?
Yes, through you, Reeve. So I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but I believe Yeah, it was, I believe we budgeted $400,000 and it was around $350,000 was the bid, with some other work possibly needing to be done, replacing the gypsum if it was saturated, but they ended up being able to recover all of the existing drywall, so there was really no additional charges other than the original bid.
Great, thank you. Are there any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, none. It's carried. Thank you, Council. That Committee of the Whole received the One Innovation Drive sale and disposition options report as information. Mover, please. Councillor McDonald, second. Councillor McWhirter, and again, Coordinator Collins, please.
Thank you. Through you, Reeve. So at the July 8th, 2025 council meeting, there was a motion brought forward requesting staff to prepare and present a report outlining the necessary details and financial implications of selling the town-owned property located at One Innovation Drive. For further consideration, below is a chart that outlines the annual operating budgets and operating actuals from 2023 to 2025. If the town were to sell this facility, the only revenues that the town would receive would be for water, sewer charges, and property taxes. The 2025 actuals as of November 17th, 2025 were showing a revenue of $672,567 and expenses of $600,475. In addition to the annual figures noted, One Innovation Drive also has several large capital projects to complete in the coming years. The town does have a full appraisal on One Innovation Drive that was completed in late 2024. If council is interested in moving forward with the sale of the property, the following steps would be required as per the sale and disposition of surplus land policy, specifically section 6.2A and B. The following disposal process shall generally be followed. The town must first determine whether the property is generally marketable, confirm it has no interest in the land. Then a full title search is completed to verify ownership and any encumbrances. Staff will report these findings to council with a recommendation on declaring the property surplus. And declaring land surplus does not obligate the town to sell and can be reversed by council at any time before the disposal is finalized. Once all due diligence has been considered, the town must provide public notice and obtain an up-to-date property valuation. The property is then marketed according to the approved method. Staff will then report to council with a signed draft agreement of purchase and sale, including purchase price, key terms, and a draft bylaw. If multiple offers are received, all are presented with a recommended choice. Once approved, the agreement is executed and staff complete all steps needed to close the transaction. Should council wish to explore further the option to sell One Innovation, staff will seek legal opinions and recommendations regarding obligations to tenants. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor McDonald, please.
Thank you, Reeve, and through you. Are we able to get the data for 2020, 21, and 22 to paint a more robust financial picture with regard to One Innovation? And so basically a fuller understanding of the last 5 years. Is that doable from staff side?
My memory serves me that we did receive those on an annual basis from the Renfrew Industrial Commission, but I'm hopeful that Mr. Collins can confirm that.
Yeah, through you, Reeve, we can definitely provide those numbers.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? So what I should do is I'll make note of some of the comments in the financial comments, just for the public more than anything else. But the asset management plan gives this building a $17.85 million value to be replaced. It also notes that 13.34 million, or 42% of the funding backlog for facilities identified in our AMP are contained by One Innovation Drive. So this is a fairly significant consumer of space in our financial sphere, as well as the same time it is an asset, whether the building itself or the building and the land. So I think in conversations with council and staff, everybody wants to tread carefully as we get to a point of making decisions about selling this or not, making more investments or not, taking on partners, whatever we end up doing. So I would encourage the community to take it slowly and step with us, and we'll give you the information as we can when we can. With that, council, is there any other comments, questions? All those in favor? Opposed? None? It's carried. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Collins. That Committee of the Whole received the Millennium Trail 2025-2026 report as information. A mover, please. Councillor Legree, seconded by Councillor McWhirter, and Director Latondres, please.
Thank you, through you, Eve. So for a number of years, the Whitewater snowgoers have entered into an MOU with the town to maintain the Millennium Trail during snow season for snowmobilers. For financial reasons, the Ontario Federation of Snowmobile Clubs have asked their clubs and groups to reduce a percentage of their maintained trail kilometers. The snowgoers have elected to eliminate the section of Millennium Trail from the junction of Lisgar Avenue to the junction at Barnett Boulevard. This is one, there's some other sections as well, but this portion of the trail is roughly 3.3 kilometers long. The staff have asked the snowgoers if they would be willing to provide an estimated fee to groom the affected portion of the trail, but they're not willing to complete that grooming in exchange for a fee. They will continue to maintain other portions of the trail, which are identified in the attachment to this report. The town does not own sufficient equipment to maintain this portion of the trail to allow snowmobilers to safely use the trail for the 2025-2026 season. So the affected portion of the Millennium Trail will be groomed using our existing equipment and will be accessible only to foot traffic, which includes snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, although the tracks will not be groomed. Recreation staff can use existing equipment to pack the trail down on a regular basis or after significant snowfalls. Aside from the town maintenance, all P gates will remain closed and will be painted and marked with high visibility reflectors. Signage will be posted at either end of the trail as well as P gates throughout the span of the affected trail, indicating that snowmobiles and motorized vehicles are not permitted. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Cybulski, please.
Thank you, Reeve. A few questions. Hopefully I get answers that I like, but is it stated in here that we will be using equipment to pack or groom the trail? Is that what I'm getting out of this, that we are going to be doing that?
Director, please.
Thank you, through Reeve. We're able to pack it down enough for people to use it for snowshoeing and cross-country skiing, not to meet the standards of the Ontario Federation of Snowmobile Clubs. We don't have the equipment for that.
Okay, I might have a few, Reeve. So
Supplementary?
Yes, thank you. With respect to that, it did say in here that the section of trail is being closed due to financial constraints from the snowmobile club, but yet there's no financial commitment from us to be running equipment on there. So there has to be a cost associated to running equipment on a new 3-kilometer long trail. So I'm not sure that this is worded correctly if we are going to be putting equipment on it. I'm not sure if there's I think I have a question there. Someone can answer potentially if there is a cost there, because it's not showing.
Okay, so I think what you're trying to say is this is information, and can we have a bit of a costing estimate for the winter season of this if we were to have equipment and staff spend time on it?
And follow up, if I may,
Sure.
Reeve. This is a significant loss in some respects to the community. It has been a main snowmobiling trail, and it gives great access to our downtown core. There's fuel stops, there's restaurants, there's lots of parts of Renfrew that is going to feel the effect of not having snowmobilers through there. I wish there's a way that we could have an extended conversation on how allowing snowmobiles to still use it, whether it's local traffic. To say that it's not safe for a snowmobile to use is arguable. Snow machines today are designed to go through conditions far more abrasive than a groomed trail or even a non-maintained trail. So I would just like it not to end here. I'd like to hear a little bit more conversation. I do believe it's an unfortunate loss for the town of Renfrew for snowmobilers.
And Director, any further comments, or do you want to hear the rest of the questions, or what would you like?
I did have more information. I'm not sure if
Okay, well,
coordinator.
sure, if it's okay, we'll take more information.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I didn't hear that. Sorry.
Yeah, sure, we'll go ahead and take more information. Or you mean for another time?
No, Coordinator Collins might have, I think, some information on where the trail still does come through, though. We were discussing it. But I know that across Ontario, like, it's definitely not just our area. There was an article in Inside Ottawa Valley that over 950 kilometers has been reduced this season. That was a decision made by the snowmobile clubs, their trail network. Overall, I think it says their network is going from 25,000 and they're reducing that by 5,000 this year. So it's definitely, it is a loss. And we can share. We can go back out to the snowgoers, and we can share the information we have got from them. I would just like to talk to them prior. And then my team, just to let everybody know, my team did say that they can maintain it so that it remains passable, but the comment I got from my team was it would be very charitable to say that we're grooming it because we only have the gator, the snow dog, and a homemade drag behind the unit that they can attach. So it will not be up to the standards of the OFSC and the whitewater snowgoers, but definitely we can get more information on what we can or can't do with that trail.
Okay, thank you. Councillor McDonald and then Councillor Legree.
Thank you, Reeve, to you. And I'm just wondering, you talk about it may not meet their standards, but to Councillor Sobolski's point, we can provide maybe a different standard. And is there, what I'm looking for is there a bit of a compromise we can come up with to continue to bring the traffic downtown? And to that point, can we use signage, use at your own risk, that sort of thing? So are these different options we can look at?
You, Councillor Legree, please.
Through you, Reeve, Emo. Just so I'm clear, the trail, maybe Councillor Sobolski can answer this too. So the trail that kind of goes McEwen's Esso kind of through town there, that's still going to be operational. So it's just that one chunk. So it'll kind of hurt the downtown middle businesses, right? They'll still be able to get fuel at the Esso, McEwen's. Okay. All right. I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay, so, and this is worrisome too because anytime, like this trail's been very good about getting people down in downtown core. We haven't had a whole number of complaints about snowmobiles running up and down streets all the time, so we're not chasing them with bylaw and trying to get the OPP to catch them. So that's my worry, is that when this trail isn't there, we're going to start getting a lot of phone calls because people are going to be taking shortcuts or doing something to get out. And we do know that some people, some of the younger people, meaning 14, 15, 16, whatever, sometimes take snowmobiles out to Mattaway or to MyFM Center. You know, that's their mode of transportation. So I'm not, I'm not interested in interfering with that if there's a way around that. So I think what I'd like to hear is a motion to direct staff to, having heard our comments, see if there's a means of putting together some kind of a program to care for the trail, short of the grooming that has gone on for years, but still allow it to be used safely and by the snowmobiles if possible, and to then cost that and bring it back to us. Is that a fair estimation of what I think I heard? And would you make that motion, sir?
Yeah, can I just add a few comments before we get it out there?
You certainly can.
All right. Thank you. And to your point, Reeve, I know of a few individuals that already are questioning how they're going to get access to the trail system because of their proximity to that trail in town. It's a luxury that they live close to it, but to take it from them, it's going to cause them to use it anyways. So therefore, to say no to snowmobiles could cause an issue. And if we allow a little bit of snowmobile traffic, whether it be local or not, that will naturally pack the trail too, which will be safe for dog walkers and other natural uses. But yes, I'd be willing to put the motion on the table.
Thank you. A seconder? Councillor Legree? Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you, Council. That That Committee of the Whole received the Grants to Community Partners second intake report as information. Mover, please. Councillor Legree, second by Councillor McDonald. And Director Latondres, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Ms. Fraser.
Thank you. Through you, Reeve. So Grants to Community Partners typically has 2 intakes annually, one in the springtime and then one in the fall. This year we did update the policy in July, so it resulted in a later first intake than we normally would. So the committee met end of August, and then that didn't get to council just based off of postponement and large budget or large meetings, that it got pushed back, and we didn't get that to council until mid-October for that first intake. So as a result of that, we're proposing that we do not take a second intake, and that just the applications that come through are sent out to the committee via email for that final approval. Any questions or comments on that?
Yes, any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? None is carried. Thank you. That Committee of the Whole received the Recreation Hours Report as information. Mover, please. Councillor Legree, second by Councillor Sobalski, and Director Latondres, please. Ms. Fraser again, please.
Thank you.
I must be misreading F's for L's here.
Through you, Reeve. So, sorry, we're on the Recreation Office Hours? No? Yes? Okay, yes. Sorry. So, the Recreation Office is located at My FM Centre. We've got CSRs that work in there from working the desk, that main point of contact for customers, Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. until 10 p.m. and as of recent, on Saturdays from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. and it's been closed on Sundays as of March of this year when a position was terminated, and due to the hiring freeze, we did not replace that position. So that resulted in us closing the office on Sundays, which then further resulted in us not doing programs on Sundays. So we're looking, well, with the strong mayor powers, we've gotten that customer service rep back. So we're fully staffed again, and we're looking to open the office again on Sundays so that we can resume programming for the town on the Sundays again. And that would be from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m., which was the office hours previously on the Sundays. Any questions or comments on that one?
Yes. Questions and comments, please? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you. Thank you. The Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council accept the addendum to the Youth Gymnastics A Memorandum of Understanding. Mover, please. Councillor Legree, second. Councillor Sobalski. And we'll go to Ms. Fraser again, please.
Thank you. Through you, Ray. So we have a memorandum of understanding with the organization Youth Gymnastics A. We do that memorandum of understanding every year with them. It kind of lets them use our gymnasium with their gymnastics equipment for a discounted fee so that they can offer gymnastics to a large number of children within the community at a very low cost. So they're not a not-for-profit, but they do offer it very cheaply. So they had come to the budget meeting earlier this year and proposed that we have a capital item to install anchors in the gymnasium floor. And at that time, it was approved for us to put those anchors in the floor so that they could purchase uneven bars. So they wanted to get large uneven bars so that the kids that were kind of outgrowing their small uneven bars could still use that equipment. So that went ahead. We got the uneven bars, and then we decided that we would do an addendum to the MOU about the uneven bars because they are new to us. The town does not use these uneven bars at all for our program. Only Youth Gymnastics A uses those. We did meet with Youth Gymnastics A with one of our lead hands as well as another rec staff member to get those set up the very first time, but they were hoping that they could either train all of our staff. It's just not feasible to get all of our staff in there at one time for them to do training, and they weren't quite happy with us kind of training with what we received from them. They wanted to train them directly. So that's resulting in the addendum point of them setting up their own uneven bars. They are happy to do that, but that is a new point added into the MOU, as well as just sharing the cost of any repairs or maintenance to the equipment up to $1,000, which has been allocated into the 2026 budget as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? None is carried. Thank you. Very well done. That Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council direct the acting mayor and town clerk to sign the revised municipal and First Nations automotive materials services amending agreement. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Legree, second Councillor McWhorter, and I believe, would that be you, Director? Director Withers?
Thank you. Through you, Reeve. This is just a revised agreement, originally before council and approved on September the 23rd of this year, and there's just a minor edit required in relation to us being a depot community as opposed to an event community with respect to household hazardous waste. So just a minor change to the agreement, but significant enough it needs to come back before council. And just as a reminder, this is a minor cost recovery in the amount of about $1,500 annually to offset the cost of handling disposal antifreeze oil filters and empty automotive fluid containers at the household hazardous waste depot at the landfill. And so if we enter into this agreement, we will receive those cost recoveries. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you, committee. Yes, it is council? Committee. It is committee. Good. Finally got that right after 17 tries. Thank you. And next, the Committee of the Whole received the budgetary checks and the balances report as information. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor McWhorter. And we'll turn to, I believe, Director Hodge.
Thank you. Through you, Reeve. So this report on budgetary checks and balances has came up regarding discussions in the 2026 Budget Committee. Each budget has a process that involves checks and balances and best practices. Some of the types of things you would commonly see are looking at previous year's information, looking at services by department, looking at balances in budget decisions for the future year to consider, such as performance versus cost versus risks, and what decisions come out of that. And throughout the budget process, you would see the looking for public inputs as well, and a number of budget meetings. In this report, we've made note to reiterate impacts of budget pressures on the 2026 budget regarding three particular items we've noted here: one for a transfer to Sunshine Coach, one for some floor rental income with the recreation area, and information regarding the OPP policing contract fees and the relief associated with that. So we've listed those in the report, and we've also listed process controls with a list of bullet points, and we've noted that for 2026 budget process, we're bolstering that, and we're going to strengthen that from 2025. And in the report, you can see there that we've noted some things in bold that indicate new steps in the process. Extra areas of review where we can slow the process down from from the previous process, verify information, review multiple times, and get extra sets of eyes on the new budget that we're preparing now, that we're in the process of. One of the things I wanted to make note of is that with the strong mayor budget process, it's added steps that are actually, I would say, positive, because throughout that process, there's extra opportunities for the mayor to review it, the mayor to put that back to council to take another chance to look at it again after the budget committee, and finally come back through council. So there's extra steps there that may not have been there in the past. As I mentioned, the process has continued with more sets of eyes on it. And as we come through a budget process, that always lends us into the operating and capital year of that, where we enact the budget, and then we see that take effect through our procurement policy, additional checks and balances with that. Also, our lenders look at our financial statements and our budget. The province, as we saw here this evening, the MMAH was presenting, they see our information through the FIR process, to see how our financial indicators are looking year over year, and as we progress. And of course, one key important area is the public can view the finalized budgets that are each year done and posted on the town website. And it's always important to make note and realize that the public can give budgetary feedback to council members at any time through the year. And for each budget process, there's specific opportunities ensured for public comments, concerns, and questions. We recently had a public budget meeting, and there was discussion about having another follow-up meeting as the budget process carries on and evolves to closer to the final version. And of course, we started out with this budget survey at the beginning of the process. Just in conclusion on this report, there's many areas of checks and balances in the budget process, and all those are focused around the legislated requirements that structure municipal budgeting and municipal finance. And so as we go through the 2026 budget, we will continue to enhance, review, and monitor on an ongoing basis. And after it's finalized, we'll continue to do that as well versus the actuals that we see throughout the year.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor McDonald, please.
Thank you, Reeve. And if I can have, I do have several questions, and if I can have a bit of, not leeway, but some flexibility,
Yes.
We should be able to cancel L4 then later on.
That was my hope. Thank you.
Okay, to go ahead with the first one?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. With regard to, we talked about three issues with the previous budget. As I was looking through it, with WSIB claims for $50,000, that wasn't noted in the three, but is that not one that apparently we missed? So that's dealing with the WSIB claims for $50,000. That was mentioned in, yeah, go ahead, thank you.
Yes, so here we've highlighted those three, as you've mentioned. If we look to your budget binder in tab 3, there's another summary of budgetary pressures and effects. WSIB is another thing that we had presented at the budget committee level. It's I would say, a budgetary pressure for 2026.
Okay, so just to clarify, there were 4 different issues that weren't picked up last year, or sorry, this year with the 2025 budget?
Everything.
I realize it's minor with 50,000, but
yeah, I wasn't here for the specifics of the 2025 budget process, but for 2026 budget, everything that we need in the budget has been included from our first staff draft. If that answers your question.
Yes.
Second question, Reeve?
Yep.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
With regard to the printout we had for the 2026 budget, you had noted at the top where these are all identified, it's the 1st of October where this was printed out from Treasury. We've been informed that the Reeve had stated he didn't become aware of this until the 16th of October. When did Treasury become aware that there were these issues with the budget? What dates are we looking at?
Through you, Reeve. I don't have a calendar date, but we would have been preparing the budget in September for October 1st.
Thank you, clarification. So in September, would you have been aware that there were issues where we would have to go back and capture that 8% that we missed in 2025?
Yeah, they were included in the staff draft. Throughout the process, when I came into the process, I started compiling what staff had reviewed and submitted from each department, and also had the deputy treasurer helping me see what was coming into the 2026 information.
Thank you, Reeve. So page 2, I'll refer to it in terms of what you just presented today, right at the bottom of it. We talk about, note that staff do not have definitive explanations as to how the above 3 items were missed out on the budget. I just have concerns with that, it's my opinion, that we're dealing with numbers, but we still don't know how we missed it. Is there anything you can clarify with regard to that one?
Treasurer?
I'm just going to see if it's right here, which page it's on, but we were referring to, like, the software change was one item, and that I've been told it's been ongoing in implementation throughout 2025. So I'm not speculating, but like I believe there was strong mayor powers, there was starting to come into effect, and there was software implementation with account changes. So all the accounts were being realigned, and throughout the budgetary meetings, changes were being made. So, but I wasn't here at the time, so it's hard for me to know, like, the inner workings of that.
Please.
Thank you. I'll continue. And no, I'm aware of that, Treasurer. Thank you very much. But we, at this point in time, we have no definitive reason as to why we missed out on that. Confirmed?
So you can't point to any one date or one action that did it?
I
No.
can't,
Okay.
from my position. Really.
Thanks.
Thank you. And with regard to page 4, we talk about checks and balances. To me, this should have been something that had been taking place all along. And again, I realize you're just new to the team and it doesn't fall on your shoulders. But when you've talked, we've bolded, reviewed by the CAO, and then right under that, Deputy Treasurer, Treasurer, and the CAO to review independently and ask questions as needed. I would have anticipated that was taking place anyway. Is that not how the process took first before? And I guess you weren't here, so I'll redirect to the Deputy Treasurer from your experience previously. Can you provide any input?
Deputy Treasurer?
Thank you, Drew. Yes, ultimately that would be the best practice, and I would agree that's the best practice. I can say, unfortunately, I was on parental leave during the majority of the previous budget, the 2025 budget, but I would agree that having a comprehensive review with the finance team and the CAO would be best practice for that.
Please.
Thank you, Reeve. And I guess just to finalize from my input, when it comes through the process in terms of the chain of command, and it arrives at the CAO, and when it comes to council side, I just want to be reassured in terms of we're getting the actual relevant information, as opposed to finding out a year later that we're 8% off. So I'd like to see the checks and balances, some redundancy built into the system, because when it comes to the final signature, we need to be ensured, especially moving forward this year, that everything's been done. I know you made a comment in terms of, the public can look at it too, but it's not their responsibility. It's staff responsibility to direct it towards council, and that we have the trust with regard to everything we're getting is factual. So that's where I have concerns or frustrations right now, but I understand what took place, and we have new members on the team, but those are just my opinions, so thank you.
Thank you. And with the with the layering that we're seeing when we look at the bold, is it like our policy? You know, we get the policy one where it says it was 2019, then it was changed in 2011, and then changed. So is this possible? Sorry, 2021. So is it possible that when you're going through it, as it comes to council, that these dates or these sign-offs are on it? So it shows a version, like, you know, that it's reviewed by the CAO, then the deputy treasurer, the treasurer, and the CAO will review it independently. See, there's a date for that, and then you know, so if there's a layering to show when it's gone through these processes, that might help council and the community and staff recognize that, you know, it's an important document, and everything's been done to assure accuracy. And I'll just, who would like treasurer?
I was just going to say, just at first glance, all budget meetings are public, as are all council meetings. So everything is done with dates, with pre-published agendas. Everyone can view it, read it, ask questions in advance. It's then passed through resolution. It's scrutinized by council, passed by council. So I feel like that is a pretty strong process, and ultimately, well, traditionally budgets are all passed by council as they're presented. So I feel like that will give a good trail and a good progress of change. But for this moment forward, obviously our plan is to check everything in great detail and verify. Not only does the budget balance with revenues to cover expenses, but that each of the more greater details are checked against working papers and statements from other agencies, things like that, and against contracts to make sure all those things have been verified.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Treasurer and then CAO.
I did just want to highlight, as we were going through this report, that the 3 items noted here, 2 of them were inadvertent omissions. We can all agree on that. The OPP item itself should be more perceived as a budget pressure rather than an error. In my opinion, when we're going through all of the PowerPoints back to April, we received notice from the province with the actual billing statement, annual billing statement with the revised amounts. So just to kind of be transparent, the OPP item isn't necessarily in fact, in my opinion, it's not a budget error. So just to keep that in mind. The other 2, we can acknowledge that for sure. They should have been picked up and dealt with in the 2025 budget process. How those were financed at that time would have been at the will of council for sure. But the OPP items themselves, the increase in the contract on the 26 is a budget pressure that council would have had to recognize at some point. And then we have recognized that in 26, and there's financing options to offset those increases. But I just did think that was important to differentiate between a budget pressure versus an actual omission, just for council's info.
Okay, thank you. And CAO, please. CAO and then Councillor Legris.
So just to go back to your question on having the dates of when all these extra reviews are being done, that's something that I'm sure we can start providing a summary sheet at the beginning of the budget that it details specifically what day the deputy treasurer went through it, what day specifically the treasurer went through it, and what day I specifically went through it. I believe that was what your request was. We'll be able to put a summary sheet at the beginning of it if the software itself cannot indicate those dates.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Legris, please.
Through you, Reeve Emo. Just a comment, I guess. I get there's a lot of stuff was kind of happening there. It was kind of, Deputy Treasurer Ferguson was off. Treasurer Hodge hadn't started. Our treasurer at the time was dealing with changing GL accounts massively, implementing new software. Looking back, I don't know if we should have probably pushed some of this off and dealt with budget. That's on us. I take blame for that too. And to dealt with the budget and then moved forward with the rest of the changes. So I think there's a whole bunch of stuff happening. I guess just looking quickly at timelines, that's where my concern is. I think that council was notified later than they should have been, and that's where I'm kind of upset with it. So I think that internal knew quite a bit prior before council did. So thanks.
Thank you. And Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Reeve, through you. And to the Treasurer and the Deputy Treasurer, this is no slight towards you guys, and thank you for answering the questions. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. And Treasurer, I know you're just new here with new systems and all that, so I just want to be thankful for that. I think my biggest thing is we need to reassure the public, and this is what part of this motion is. We're reassuring the public that this can't happen again, and we're going to do the best we can to make sure it doesn't happen again. And this was a tough pill this year for them to swallow, but again, thank you for the work you're doing.
Yes, thank you. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you. I'm sorry. Oh, Councillor McDonald? No? Okay. And next we'll move to legislative services and council relations. I would request that council consider a motion to postpone the recommended action, which was concerning the council code of conduct and formal complaint procedure. So Councillor Legree would make that motion to postpone that. Seconder, Councillor Cebulski. And questions?
Thank you, Reeve. We're talking E61?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, sorry. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you very much. And that Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council approve the draft council communications policy and plan as presented, and further to direct staff to bring forward the appropriate bylaw. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Legree, second by Councillor McWhorter, and CAO.
Thank you, Reeve. So in my report, you can see that this is a follow-up to some previous council meetings resolutions and notices of motion. I had previously brought forward two different file formats that could be considered, and I was directed to proceed without specifically either one of them as a direction, though there was some comments at the time that the one seemed a little too simplified and the other one seemed a little too intensive. So I tried to create one that was kind of a mid-ground between the two examples I was able to find, and tried to write it in a way that it would be a guideline so that anything new that might come up in a legislation would be able to easily be fit in as to how the reporting on that would occur between staff and council. I did provide the draft to the acting mayor for review before added to this report, and if there's any questions or changes that the committee would like to see before it's formally council approved, this would be the best time to discuss them.
Thank you. And members of council? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? None is carried. Thank you. And next we'll move that Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council adopt the proposed policy review schedule for the year 2026 through to 2030, and further the council clarify the 2026 policies for review schedule. Mover, Councillor Legree, second by Councillor Cebulski. And CAO, please.
Thank you, Reeve. So as with 2025, we've taken the multi-year policy layout, updated it for all those that were reviewed during the year. We were able to get through 31 policies of either reviewing, creating, or repealing in certain circumstances. With the remaining ones that we do have 74 active policies, with 6 of them that are required by legislation to be reviewed at least once every year, and some of them by very specific times. So based off of that and the update, we are looking at a proposed schedule over the next few years where each year would be anywhere between 22 or 23 policies on an annual basis for review. Again, this would still come forward every year, just like this one is, for update and ratification by council at the time of what they want to see for that specific next year. But based off of the past and some of the priorities that have been identified, the list has been attached of what we are proposing for 2026 for review.
Okay, council. I have to confess I like this. I'm not a policy wonk by any stretch, but I recognize that they get behind, and so I really like a numbered or a expected workload to make sure that we remain current. So I'm happy with this, but if there's a better plan, let me know. All right, all those in favor? Opposed? None, it's carried. Thank you. And next that we have the Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council adopt the 2026 corporate work plan and goals as presented. Mover, please. Councillor Legree, second Councillor McDonald, and CAO, please.
Thank you, Reeve. So I have been working with the directors of all the various departments in pulling together a proposed corporate work plan. One of the biggest changes that you'll see is that the previous ones were always laid out by department. For clarity in how proposed items in our work plan actually tie to the strategic priorities that Council has passed and approved for the strategic plan Road to 2035. We've changed the layout so that they're specifically aligned to those 10 strategies. There are several items that are in there. This has been provided to the acting mayor for review before being attached, and there was 10 additional additions or amendments to items that were in there. So the final draft version is as attached, and if there's any further items that council would like us to consider amending, adjusting, removing, adding, this would be the best time to discuss it.
Councillor McWhorter, please.
Through you, Reeve. So if we adopt this, the financial impact is that this goes ahead and we say yes, that it's going to affect the budget, right? Because there's stuff in here that I just went through that we took out of the budget. Like benches and tables, for example. That's just one example. But there are a number of items in this that will affect the budget and increase the budget this year if we go ahead and adapt this. Is that right?
So through you, Reeve, this in and of itself does not change the budget. Some of the submission to me on these items were before our most recent budget committee meeting. So we could go through and make changes and pull out the items where the budget committee has already removed from the budget. Sometimes they were left in as a more specific preparing for what would actually be needed from a 2027 standpoint, as there were some items that we specifically when I was going through, did leave in relation, even though I know they were removed, such as adding extra budget for review of the heritage properties. There are some that we're in the process of now, and we were looking at what ways can we do it where it's not as expensive, more cost-efficient methods, maybe a shared service concept with other neighboring municipalities of, we'll help you out if you're a peer review for ours type thing. So some of them were purposely left in and trying to prepare either for 2027 or to proceed with the items that wouldn't specifically cost budget. If there was a couple in there that were purely budget-based, I might have missed them when I was going through that final review through. But they can be removed. This in of itself does not change the budget. This is just the plan in which the staff are to be working towards, and if something ends up not being able to proceed because it's reliant on a grant or it's reliant on specific budget, which is not in the final approved, then it would simply be noted as cannot proceed this year, will be considered in the 2027 work plan.
Supplementary?
If I could follow up. So I'm looking at some of these projects which were taken out of I know for sure, were taken out of the budget. And it's showing a timeline being done next, like in 2026. And if we approve this as is, staff could go ahead and do that because we just approved it. So are you saying that this should go back for amendment before we vote on this? Because I'm a no on this right now, the way it sits. Because I'm not adding to the budget. We're already looking for cost savings, and some of these items were already taken out of the budget during our meeting. So
So if it's council's will, I can go back and identify the specific ones that had been removed and either update the completion date to being something in 2027 or removing them entirely from the list. I would just like guidance as to which direction you'd like to see it as. Like I said, this has been something that's been in play since the very beginning of October to be able to pull together, and that step just didn't align with the timing of when that committee last happened.
Councillor McWhirter, you're finished?
No. I mean, as it stands, I'm a no, because they're in there, and if we vote to go ahead with this, they can be done, and it'll change the budget. So, and I know we took some of these items out of the budget for that. I'm not against doing this, but I'm just, it's not good timing right now to be doing it when we're looking for cost savings, and then, which is why they were removed from the last budget meeting we had. So unless there's some amendment to it, I'm a no. So. Okay. I saw the deputy treasurer.
I just want to add real quick, if and when the budget is approved, that will be the approved projects that staff would be able to proceed with. If anything is proposed outside of the budget, so if what I'm understanding is there's stuff within the work plan that is not currently in the budget, that would have to come back to council for approval before any funds could be spent in the first place. So I understand the gray area there, but just for maybe some peace of mind, the items noted in the budget would be what would be approved for work within the year. So if there's stuff within the corporate work plan that's not within the budget, then there would be no approval to spend the funds on those items without getting council approval.
Okay, thank you. And then Councillor Legree.
Through you, Reeve, that was the question I was going to ask. Like, the budget is the budget. Just because it's on the work plan, you can do the background, but you can't spend any of the money or move forward with it if it's not in the budget. So I'm okay approving it because it can't go any further than this if it's not in the budget. So, but Deputy Treasurer kind of confirmed that. Thanks.
Thank you. Any further comments? Seeing no more, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Thank you. That Renfrew Town Council rise from Committee of the Whole. If I could have a mover, please. Councillor McDonald, second. Councillor Legree. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you. And then we're moving down to F11, and so the recommended action was that Renfrew Town Council direct staff to prepare for the creation of an advisory group comprised of experts with necessary skill sets to assist and provide input to the Town of Renfrew Council and staff with the objective of, number one, providing short-term guidance or recommendations to support the 2026 budget process, and two, developing a long-term strategic approach, including consideration of the 2027 budget process and the formulation of a potential 5 to 10-year financial and operational plan to address and move forward from the town of Renfrew's current financial crisis. And further, the staff be directed to provide council with proposed terms of reference and a defined scope of work for the advisory group for council's consideration. So, Councillor McDonald, I'm assuming you want to move that? Thank you. And do I need a seconder?
Yes.
Because we're outside the Committee of the Whole. Got it. Seconder, please. Councillor Sobalski. And discussion. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you. I think it's self-explanatory. I just see it as, Reeve, through you, just fresh eyes and different opinions that we can include as we go through as we navigate the different the budgets. Especially, we may not have it ready in time for 2026, but in terms of 2027 and moving forward, I think it's important that the community see where we have a plan to get out of the situation that we're in, and to draw on different subject matter experts, perhaps with different skill sets. So that's all I see, is looking for opinions from the public. Thank you.
Okay, I was going to suggest two things. One was that I didn't think number one was going to be possible. Yeah, just given we're essentially 12 working days left in the year, with Christmas approaching, I just thought it was going to be impossible. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Reeve. To touch up on that, I think you even mentioned previously that we'd have another potential open house where if someone has concerns, they can come in and speak to it. Thank you.
Okay, and the other piece is, I'm going to need someone to confirm this. My reading of the Strong Mayors Act, we are not going to be doing anything with budget next year. The 2027 budget will be developed after the new council is sworn in November of 2026. So there wouldn't be a mayor's budget or process. We won't have any input into it. Is that, just in general, is that how I understand? CAO, please.
Yeah. So yes, there is, in the Municipal Act, the provincial legislation says, regardless whether you're strong mayors or not, that the budget for the year immediately preceding the municipal election cannot be passed and approved until the year it is for. So that means 2027 cannot be passed any earlier than January 1st, being that that is a statutory holiday. In essence, you're looking at January 2nd. And it would be, again, because we are strong mayors, it would be the mayor elected in the municipal election next year who would be ultimately responsible to make sure it is proposed before February 1st of 2027. So technically, this current council can't pass motions that would force items into the 2027 budget, but could put forward recommendations of things to consider when doing the 2027 budget, but you wouldn't be able to establish a budget for 2027 any earlier than January 1st.
Okay, and so just my question then is, this group, if council was to get a good terms of reference and may only end up with 1 or 2 meetings or 3 meetings, whatever, prior to that, simply with an advisory role of a 5 or 10 year plan. Is that okay? Hey, I'm just asking questions to see where I can get. And Councillor McDonald, well, you folks are thinking about that.
Thank you, Reeve, and through you, and thank you, Seo, for that update. So I guess being idealistic, looking to provide a roadmap for the next council. We've been immersed in the last 3 years of the financial difficulties here, so I just think it's good governance and good due diligence to provide some sort of roadmap dealing with some other input from individuals that we could potentially pass on, and it'll be up to the next council to decide what they see fit. So to that point, and I'm looking at the clerk right now, do we restructure the motion, or what would you like, or just leave it as is for now?
Okay, well, she's thinking, I'll start talking. We usually work really well, and when I do the talking, Bill says thinking. So what I would suggest is leaving the first paragraph and stroking off the first part of the, like, dumping number 1, and then number 2, changing it to and then stroke off number 2 down to formulation of a potential 5 to 10 year financial and operational plan to address and move forward from the financial crisis, and further staff be directed. So they'd be directed to put a terms of reference together. So let's just recognize this new group could only offer this little piece, for advice, and maybe that's what we focus on in this period, if that makes sense. Clerk, excuse me.
Through you, Reeve, just so I'm clear on this. So the intent is still to direct staff to provide terms of reference and define scope for an advisory group, keeping in mind that come the new term of council, all committees, working groups, advisory groups will come to an end and reestablish how the new term of council wishes to move forward, right? So this new terms of reference would be just for, the assumption of that new terms of reference would just be for that period up until
yes, it would
basically September.
It would have a sunset clause.
Okay.
Okay.
So I would say that If we're not changing the intent of the motion, but simply removing, an amendment can be made. So moved and seconded to amend the current motion to remove item 1 and remove item 2 up to the formation of potential and then all remaining. So if there's no change in intent, then an amendment can be made.
Okay, do you want to move that and then we can talk about it, or do you want to go ahead and talk about it? I'd like, well, just maybe move it after we had that nice presentation tonight. And a seconder, please. Councillor McDonald. Okay, and Councillor Legree, please.
Through you, Emo. So I get what Councillor McDonald's trying to do. I agree with it. I'm just a little confused, so I need some clarification. So we're going to do terms of reference everything now, and it's going to be active from now until September 2025. Until we go in.
2026, sorry.
Yeah, 2026, sorry, yeah. Until we go into lame duck, basically, right? And then that shuts off. So I don't really know if we're not using it for this budget and the new council ain't using it. I don't know what I'm missing, but why are we doing it then?
So I would envision it similar to, and thank God Mr. Withers is gone, it's similar to a zoning bylaw or you know, where you, or sorry, similar to a strategic plan where you're suggesting goals that you want to get to and some suggestions on how you get there. Like you want to make yourself the most accessible community in the world, so you've got, you know, you fix your website, you fix all your sidewalks and things like that. So that's how I envision it, but CEO, please.
So in addition, what the group would be able to do is work on a proposed plan on how to address things in a long term, similar to council can technically pass a 10-year capital plan, knowing that technically any future capitals or councils could choose to change any 1 year or the rest of the plan, but they would be capable of looking at from whenever it's established by bylaw to that September time period to focus on here's a potential way of addressing that would then be provided to the mayor who is elected in next year for consideration and review when determining how they wish to have the budget move forward.
Perfect, that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any further questions or comments? So if I could ask you to vote on the amendment. All those in favor of the amendment, thank you. And then we would then be voting on the amended motion, which would read that Renfrew Town Council directs staff to prepare for the creation of an advisory group comprised of experts with the necessary skill sets to assist and provide input to the Town of Renfrew Council and staff with the objective of the formulation of a potential 5 to 10-year financial and operational plan to address and move forward from the Town of Renfrew's current financial crisis, and further the staff be directed to provide council with proposed terms of reference and a defined scope of work for the advisory group for council's consideration. So that is what I understand the amended motion to be. All those in favor? Opposed? None? It's carried. Thank you. And next, F.1.2, that Renfrew Town Council adjust its annual $10,000 payment to the Renfrew Area Chamber of Commerce so that the allocation is issued in 2 equal installments, and further that the second installment be released approximately 6 to 8 months after the initial payment, contingent upon confirmation of the Chamber's financial viability as endorsed by the Town of Renfrew's appointed board representative. And Councillor McDonald, you're moving that. And a seconder? Councillor Legree and Councillor McDonald, please.
Thank you, through you. Very straightforward. It's what we did for the 2025 budget. We're just going to ensure due diligence for the 2026 also. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you. In your package, you will see the downtown BIA minutes of October 20. And the attachment includes October 2025 meeting minutes, proposed 2026 budget, and new social media policy. The budget will be presented to us in the next budget workshop by finance staff, I believe. so it's really not for comment. It's more for it's not really for comment right now. It's for information. Okay, and next we have the Renfrew Hydro Inc. 2025 Q3 shareholder report. Is there anything anybody needs to add to that or wants to add to that? Questions? I'm sorry, Councillor Cebulski.
Thank you, through you, Reeve. Again, it's pretty routine. Excellent meeting. Again, Renfrew Hydro holds excellent quarterly meetings from 9:30 to 2:30 was the duration, and lots of really good coverage, lots of good information. If anyone has any questions specifically, reach out to myself, Councillor McWhirter, or even Renfrew Hydro. Thank you.
Thank you. And next, items for consideration or support, seeing none, and correspondence items for information. You have H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, or H6. So if there's anything you want to bring forward. Okay, seeing none. That Renfrew Town Council confirmed the minutes of the regular meeting of Council dated November 12, 2025. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Agree, second Councillor McWhirter. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None is carried. Thank you. And next we move to resolutions. That Renfrew Town Council adopt the final resolutions considered in Committee of the Whole on November the 12th. Item number 1, sub 1, that Renfrew Town Council that the following properties be added to the Municipal Heritage Register as listed non-designated properties. A, 247 Bar Street, roll number 474-800-350-3503-100. B, 277 Bar Street, roll number 474-800-3502-800. C, 151 Quarry Street, roll number 474-800-3513-700. Sub 2, that subject to the listing of the property, staff be directed to issue notices of listing of the properties to the registered property owners in accordance with the requirements of the Ontario Heritage Act, my apologies, and such other notice as may be required. 3, the subject to the listing of the properties be investigated as part of the Heritage Work Plan for potential designation, including consultation and collaboration with the property owners, noting that investigation does not imply eligibility for designation or the Council will proceed with designation of any of the properties. Number 2, the Renfrew Town Council approved the amendment for the rotational deputy mayor remuneration, and further that a bylaw for the new term council be brought forward for adoption. Number 3, that Renfrew Town Council accept the 2026 committee and council schedule as presented and direct staff to schedule meetings accordingly. Number 4, the Renfrew Town Council establish a new use of corporate resources during an election period policy, and a staff be directed to bring forward the appropriate bylaw for council's adoption. Could I get a mover, please? Councillor Agree, second. Councillor McWhirter, and discussion. Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? None? It's carried. Thank you. Next is bylaws. That the bylaws listed on the agenda of November 25, 2025 be read a first, second, and third time and passed. 105-2025, execute a construction agreement with McCrae Excavating Limited for the 7th Street Rehabilitation Project. 106-2025, remuneration bylaw for 2026-2030 term of council. 107-2025, adopt the use of corporate resources during election period policy. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor McWhirter, second Councillor Cebulski. Just very quickly, if someone could explain to us about the 7th Street McCrae, please. CAO.
Okay. So through you, Reeve, this was part of the awarded construction project. At the time when it was awarded, it was noted that there may be a delay in the actual construction work, as it was originally supposed to be done in this fall, being that it was the same company who was working on our Stevenson. They were not able to start construction without actually getting close to a completion. So the contract had to be negotiated for a different start time. It still has all the other conditions the same as what was awarded by council. It's just that it will be starting in 2026 to ensure that we don't do massive work just as the snow is about to fly.
Okay, thank you. Are there any further questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? None? Is carried. Thank you. And we'll move to notice, which has previously been given for a motion. And that Renfrew Town Council directs staff to investigate the details of the fire marquee program and report back to council on how the program operates, potential benefits to the town of Renfrew, and any implications for implementation. And Councillor Agree, I believe you want to move that? Okay, thank you. And do we have a seconder? Councillor Sobalski, is there any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? None? It's carried. Thank you, Council. That Renfrew Town Council directs staff to immediately engage and move forward with the Renfrew East Secondary Plan and the Mask/O'Brien development options. Further, that staff be directed to provide bi-monthly updates at regular meetings of council on the progress of these projects, noting that these initiatives are to be advanced as their completion will contribute to strengthening and expanding the town's financial base, supporting long-term and short-term municipal success. And Councillor McDonald, I believe you would like to move that. Seconder, please. Councillor Legree. And any comments? Councillor McDonald, please.
Thank you, Reeve. On this one, I'd like to read a statement, and then I have a couple questions right after it. Thank you. The advancement of the Renfrew East Secondary Plan and the Mask-O'Brien development options represent a critical opportunity to support the town's long-term financial stability and economic growth. Opening town-owned lands for appropriate development has the potential to kickstart meaningful economic development activity, attract private investment, and increase the overall tax base for the town of Renfrew. As operational costs within the municipality budget remain relatively consistent over year to year, expanding the town's revenue base is essential to easing the financial burden on local taxpayers. The development of these lands will generate new assessment growth, support additional housing and commercial opportunities, and position Renfrew to meet future community needs. In addition, moving these projects forward will support the responsible disposal and utilization of surplus municipal lands, ensuring that any future advancement aligns with both local planning objectives and provincial planning frameworks. This coordinated approach will help ensure that the town grows in a strategic, sustainable, and fiscally responsible manner. And I do have a question or two, Reeve, once the floor is open.
Okay. Are there any? Councillor McWhorter?
I guess the main one would be, what's the financial impact of this going forward? Is there going to be stages where it comes back to council and we get to vote whether or not we're moving forward depending on the price, that sort of thing?
Councillor McDonald, please.
Thank you. And Councillor, I had an opportunity to speak to the director because we did remove, he had it within his budgetary item of $50,000. So and he's not here right now to speak to it, but if we could potentially do a 26/27, spread that out. Also, and I'm looking at the treasurer right now, I think that $50,000, if we spread it out, can come out of a reserve, from what I understand, and not affect the levy. But the issue as I see it is we need to start doing something with that land to get back the potential money from it. I did ask him what type of lead time we would have, and anywhere from 1.5 years to 2 years, even if we implement it now in terms of the financing to get the work moving forward on it, it will still take 1.5 years to 2 years before we can actually realistically start doing something with it. So I was going to address some questions to him tonight, but he's not here at this point in time. Maybe at the budgetary meeting we can fine-tune it a bit better.
Supplementary?
Through you, Reeve. So based on that, I think we did discuss a little bit about the reserve for this. So I totally agree this is a project that we want to see move forward. It's in the prime location, prime area, and there's money to be made down the road if we develop this area. So I'm not against that. I think if you do the financial split, I'd be okay with that. And I'm sure if it's all from reserve, I'm 100% okay with that.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor McDonald, I believe you have a question or two?
Yep, thank you, Reeve. No, I'm okay. I just wanted to confirm, so if we move this motion forward now, it'll come back to the budgetary floor, right, for us to deal with it, or do we clarify everything right here that this is the direction we want to move in? And where I'm going with this is I wouldn't mind directing some, or at least having the Director Withers speak for himself with regard to this, as opposed to me putting words in his mouth.
Okay, I think what we could do is once we could pass it and then make the observation that it should come to budget. With the idea then, is there the possibility of borrowing, one of the things vehicles might be borrowing from our reserves to complete this plan, and then any land sales, the first recipient of the proceeds will go back into that, have a motion or probably a so those are the kinds of questions I was going to bring forward when we get to that, but maybe, CAO and clerk, if we agree to pass this tonight and with the understanding that it's going back to the our budget meeting on Tuesday? Is it Tuesday we're meeting again? Tuesday. Okay. So could I have an opinion, please?
Yes. So being that we're in council, if it is passed tonight and the confirmatory bylaw passes, technically we got to wait the 2 days to ensure that there won't be a veto of any of the confirmatory bylaw, but we would then have to immediately, because it was done before the budget meeting that's next week, it would have to hit the agenda for that meeting on Tuesday to ensure that it's adequately addressed, as this is, it's not like it's going through committee of the whole and then still needs to come back to council. This is council at the second. So it would be something where once this would pass, I would suggest that just the resolution would come and be added to the agenda for Tuesday itself.
So yes, I'm informed. Go ahead. It's not going to meet our deadlines.
Sorry, through you, I would have concerns on hitting the agenda. Our agenda releases on Thursdays. Our veto period is waived on Friday. Technically, the motion can't be put onto the agenda until such time as the veto period passes. So it's not going to meet the agenda specifically. However, correct me if I'm wrong, you said it was already stated in the budgetary discussions, so it was already identified as a capital, as an item, so there is going to be natural discussion at the committee. So I mean,
yes, and could I ask that a copy of this motion be left on our table prior to the meeting, just to remind us? Okay, thank you. So that should ensure that it gets brought up. Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Reeve. And just confirming, so we're going to table it right now with the idea...
No, we're going to go ahead and vote on it. And if it's approved, then we'll have the successful motion, a copy of it on our tables for budget day, and that should trigger our memories to make sure it gets dragged back in. Sir?
Thank you. I'm tracking right now. And clerk, sorry, through you, Reeve, clerk, with regard to Tuesday, we can still discuss it because it's a budgetary thing, right? Yeah. Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm not the clerk.
It's okay, through you, Reeve. Yes, absolutely. It is, because it's already in the budget, it's not a new item being added for discussion, all of those things. It hasn't been taken out of the capital from what I can identify, so certainly that natural discussion can happen.
Okay, thank you. Having said that, all those in favor? Opposed? None? It's carried. Thank you. And next is the motion that Renfrew Town Council open the floor for a full discussion regarding the Town of Renfrew's 2025 budgetary errors, specifically addressing the circumstances that led to the omission of $976,508. I'm sorry? Oh, yes. My apologies. I jumped over that. My apologies. The Renfrew Town Council requests that the provide formal, well, no wonder I dodged that one, provide formal correspondence to Mayor Tom Sidney regarding the management of his strong mayor powers during his period of absence to ensure proper continuity of governance, and further that the correspondence requests Mayor Tom Sidney to voluntarily delegate these powers and duties eligible under Part 6 of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended to council until he resumes full and active duties as mayor, noting that this action is intended to maintain accountability, ensure continuity of leadership, and uphold public confidence in municipal governance. And mover, please, Councillor McDonald, and seconder, Councillor Legree. And discussion. I have to confess, when I looked at this, I thought I was supposed to write a letter. So I'm so glad it's not, I hadn't muffed it. So Councillor McDonald? Oh, and no discussion? Okay. All right, looking around. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you. And so I will circulate the letter to council after I've completed it. Sorry, Councillor McDonald?
Reeve, through you, I'm going to withdraw L4 because we've had the discussion on it. L4.
Okay, thank you. Next is that Renfrew Town Council directs staff to investigate and report back to council on the feasibility of expanding the current benefit package for Town of Renfrew elected officials to include allocated sick leave, short-term disability, long-term disability, and bereavement leave during their tenure, and further that the report includes cost implications and recommendations for potential implementation. Okay, and Councillor McDonald, you're ready to make that, and a seconder, please. Councillor McWhirter. Okay, so my understanding, and maybe we need to put this in policy or clarify it, but it's policy and practice seems to be that we continue to support members of council when they're away, as I think successive councils, we've considered that members of council remain a member of council from the day they're sworn in until they leave, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days of the year. And so are you asking us to codify that, or do you just want us to clarify it, or what are you looking for from us? And I mean us, like everybody.
Yes, Reeve. And I have just a quick statement. I'll read that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Maybe that'll help. No problem. Currently, Town of Renfrew Council members do not have access to formalized leave, disability coverage, or bereavement leave during their term in office. This lack of a structured support can place elected officials in difficult positions when dealing with illness, incapacity, or personal loss. Expanding the available benefit package would help ensure that council members are supported during unforeseen circumstances. Providing such benefits would also align with best practices already observed within our municipality, promoting fairness, consistency, and responsible governance. I'm just requesting a staff report that will allow council to make an informed, data-driven decision regarding the practicality, costs, and sustainability of implementing an expanded benefit program for elected officials. And Reeve, to your point, I think we all support providing assistance when necessary. So just more like do we align it with regard to our policies, procedures that we have now, short-term, long-term disability, that sort of thing.
Thank you. Okay, any comments? Seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you, council. Okay, we have no notices of motion. We have no closed session. A confirmatory bylaw, that Renfrew Town Council adopt a confirmatory bylaw 108-2025 and that it be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed. Mover, please. Councillor McDonald, second, Councillor McWhirter. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? None is carried. Thank you. Upcoming meetings of council and committees. The Budget Committee meeting is December 2nd, 2025 at 10 a.m. Economic Development Advisory Committee, December 9, 2025 at 10 a.m. Special closed meeting of council, December 9, 2025 at 10 12 p.m. And regular council meeting at December 9, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. And I will adjourn the meeting at 7:54. Thank you very much, council and staff. Everybody's well prepared. I liked the conversation. It was vigorous, but certainly clarified things. So thank you, and we are now adjourned.